Tell you, Jimmy Johnson's Super Bowl rings, Barry Switzer's Super Bowl rings, was a long time ago. I will say this about Jerry Jones. He is very patient with all of his coaches. He does not hit the eject button. I would think that Mike McCarthy is on the clock. It might be on thin ice, might be on borrowed time as a coach of the Cowboys. However, historically, Jerry has not hit the eject button to blow guys out. You look at Dallas, Dak Prescott has just evolved into a superstar quarterback. They've got obviously two good running backs. Zeke Elliott is still a heavy-duty guy. Now they've gone through a little bit of transition at wide receiver. I mean, Amari Cooper was traded, was moved to the Cleveland Browns, and they've had injuries at wide receiver, which is a bit of a challenge because I don't think they're going to start the season with one of their top young guys, Michael Gallup. But they got as good an offensive line in football as there is, although they lost their left tackle, Tyron Smith, torn hamstring last week of the schedule. That's a big, big setback. Defensively, they're gifted. They got athletes at every position. I think Dallas is still the team to beat in the NFC East, but obviously they can't afford any more injuries because they've had a lot of guys dinged in the last couple of years, but I think they have every ingredient to be very dominant. I got Philadelphia coming in a really close second. I think Jalen Hurts has arrived as the quarterback. I think there was a huge question mark about the Eagles. I think Philadelphia's got enough to be in the race to chase down Dallas. Nick Sirianni is a pretty impressive young head coach as it relates to X's and O's and the creative stuff that young head coaches do. They added A.J. Brown, big receiver, came in the trade from Tennessee. They've got an improved pass rush. They've got a really athletic secondary. And the guy from the draft that takes up all the space in the middle, Jordan Davis from Deep South, from Alabama, that's a stud. And you put him next to Fletcher Cox, the other man mountain in the middle of their defensive line. I don't know that anybody's going to be able to run on these guys. And will anybody be able to protect their quarterback in the pocket? Because these are ferocious defensive linemen. So I got Philadelphia finishing second. Washington, I think, is a lost cause as a franchise. I think it's a disgrace what's happened in Washington. The ownership of Daniel Snyder has just denigrated the franchise. There's all these issues about the toxic workplace culture, all these issues about a bad roster. Now they don't have their pass rusher. Chase Young is gone for an indefinite period of time, still rehabbing from a significant knee injury of last year. He's not ready to start the season. And they've asked Carson Wentz to be the quarterback. They went through a myriad of quarterbacks last season. Wentz is on a third team in 3 years. He's surely not the guy that captured everybody's fancy with the Philadelphia Eagles a group of years ago when they had him in the chase for the Super Bowl. And Philadelphia hit the eject button, went to Indianapolis, had a horrible back end of last season. Colts let the guy walk out the door. And so he wound up getting traded to Washington. Carson Wentz is going to be your starting quarterback through good and bad in Washington. And in New York with the Giants in the division, it's just a long road back. I mean, the rebuild it's just going to take forever. And they fired Dave Gettleman as the general manager. They fired Joe Judge after 1 year as head coach. So they got new leadership that came in from Buffalo to run the franchise. They got a battered quarterback in Daniel Jones. They got Saquon Barkley, the running back, coming off knee surgery. They've overpaid for wide receivers. Kenny Golladay, it's not panned out. Have kind of shifted everything in the offensive line, had high draft picks. It didn't work. So they're just beginning what I think is going to be a real painful chunk of time for the Giants to be competitive, much less be a playoff team. So I got Dallas 1, Philadelphia maybe 1A. I got Washington and the Giants fighting to stay at a last place in the division.
Yeah, gone are the days when this was the most loaded division in the NFL. And we would always see the champion of that division would often be a Super Bowl team, and the wild card there was a tough team as well. This is going to be kind of a drag of a division. I mean, compared to the AFC West and the NFC West and a lot of other divisions. But Dallas is always a soap opera. Jerry Jones. I mean, they've got the Jerry world there right down in Arlington. So are they still America's team? I don't know, but there's going to be some interesting storylines with the Dallas
They're
Cowboys.
a pretty good football team, even if you don't like Jerry Jones, who historically has been a pretty good owner in terms of signing players, developing players, drafting players, not a big free agent guy. So I think football-wise, Dallas is there.